Hi, Muses. Let me do the annoying thing. Welcome. I just finally dropped the, it's been open for a little while. So if you're not already in my insider list, this is the whole point of being in part of my insider list, is that you get first dibs, you get first peek, you get first access to my offerings. But if you haven't seen already, my new collection, Once Upon a Storm, has just been, released onto my website shop and is now available for purchase. So I really hope you love it. I can't wait to hear your feedback on it. It was a long time coming. It was a lot of it that was meant for events and art fairs that have now been postponed or cancelled, and then there was just all kinds of stuff that was happening, and it was dragging its feet, and I just couldn't find my groove with it. And now it's like, oh, it makes sense. You know, the name Once Upon a Storm came before this whole pandemic situation, this storm that we're currently all in. And now it's kind of like, oh, all the messages that I had and all the stories I wrote for to share the kind of what I feel like the story behind the painting is. This doesn't mean that it's necessarily the way that you have to interpret my work. My paintings have always been for you to find your connection to your soul and to your values and to your perspective, and they were always meant to be mirrors for you and to serve as portals to who you want to become and the values and the atmosphere that you want to cultivate in your home, so that your home can be a sanctuary and feel like, which is really what we need now, to feel like a space that is sacred and a space where you can feel connected to self as well as to spirit and to soul and all those kind of things. But, or having said that, definitely check it out. Let me know. I would love to know. You can find this, this is what I should do. I should drop the link. You can find it on my website straight away and find it. Let me just find the link. I'm going to drop it in the, in the comments, because we're all fancy like that now. And what is happening? Here we go. Here we go. I drop it in. Drop it in. Everything is so slow. Anyone else struggling, especially if you have like an online business kind of thing where everyone's online and everyone's using the internet a lot more, especially during the day for, you know, working from home, working virtually, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of struggling with that sometimes. That's right, I need to share this inside my group. If you're not already inside my free group, Mindful Muses, if you would like to have more conversations like what I'm going to be talking about in terms of connecting with your creativity, to really find that sense of consistency, to really kickstart your creative spark, to really find your creative voice, to really step into what it means to be a muse and to be inspired, but actually doing the creative work too, not just like mindlessly being inspired. And so Mindful Muses is my space where you can come in and access my free trainings and resources. You also have special offers that I offer to my Mindful Muses first for any of my new offerings. It's like my hangout space, so definitely join me there. You'll find the link in my header, in the header of this place. Let me share to the group, because this is what we have to do now with Facebook. These are like marketing things. I talk about that too inside Mindful Muses, so bear with me. If you're watching a replay of this, or if you're watching me live, definitely comment below #YayLive or Yay Replay, #YayReplay. Or actually, if you're watching a replay of this, comment below #MuseMomentum, so that I know that you're watching this and you were there, and I can come back and say hi and thank you for your presence and your energy. And I feel that once you've done that, it really helps you settle into this space and to allow whatever it is I'm going to be sharing that you need is going to like float into your brain and into your subconscious a lot more. What is happening? Why is this happening? Of course. is not working. Oh, I just got zapped by myself. That happens. Ow. Here we go. Let's try again. Why if your creativity is always flowing? I just said this in a live stream I did on my Instagram, and I'm like, you guys need to hear it too. And I need to eat my lunch so I can smell my spaghetti leftovers from last night. I'm having a super late lunch. But that's the other thing as well. The tip I have for when you're feeling really disconnected and you don't want to like do the work and you're feeling like really unmotivated and you're just feeling like, oh, can't be bothered. But you also know that if you hold back, your creative flow isn't going to flow. Although what I'm going to talk about is that your creativity is always flowing. I'll come back to that. But here's the tip, okay? Especially if you want to be someone who is always inspired, who feels connected to creativity, to God, to MUSE. If you want to be consistent with showing up, if you struggle with motivation and you know every time by the time you get to it, you don't end up doing the live stream or doing the work or making the call, whatever it is. My thing is now, because I get that, I'm busy, I have kids at home, all the same things, is that I prefer to, and I'm not perfect, but I embrace imperfection, to create before I consume. So usually when I'm feeling really out of it or unmotivated or feeling like a lot of doubt, I prefer to just watch trainings. I need to learn more. I need to like follow the mentors I want to follow so that I can feel like it's possible, because that's what you're tapping into, that energy, right? Or even just like consuming actually food to try and numb and cushion this sense of despair or doubt or this sense of fear and, you know, all the kind of usual techniques, right? And so instead, I'm like, no, I need to create before I can consume. And so that means, if it means I have to hold back my lunch a little so that I do the live stream, I do talk, I do write that email, I do that, finish that painting, I do sit there so I feel like I've connected with God first, with my creativity first, with my muse first. Which leads nicely to this idea when I didn't feel like it, but now I did the live stream for Instagram. I wanted to just share some supplies, but because I showed up, all this cool stuff came out and shared, and people really needed it to really kind of kick ass a little, and to also remind them and remind you that you're more capable than you realize, and that you're allowing so many things to block you when you don't need to, that you actually do get to choose. And this idea that what if creativity is always flowing? What if creativity is always flowing, but you think you're stuck? But it's actually not stuck. It's just that creativity is always flowing, but you get to choose whether it's flowing to your creative work and the work that you want to do, and that zone where you feel like, wow, you know, you're inspired and you're making these things and it just feels beautiful, and you're just like, you know, feeling that kind of high. Or your creativity is flowing into making excuses about why you can't do the creative work. What if creativity is always flowing? It's a habit, not a skill. I always say that, because we always think, oh, I can't draw, therefore I'm not creative. I don't get that. When that's a skill set. The drawing's a skill set. Taking photos is a skill set. Being able to run a business is a skill set. Sales is a skill set. Of course, just like any skill set, you're going to need to grow it and learn it and get better over time. You got to put in the effort, you got to try, and you're going to suck at the very beginning all the time. It's like the walking thing and the driving thing, right? You sucked at the beginning, and driving was like stressful and overwhelming, and you know you had so many things, and now you're like doing it without even thinking about it. Although recently, because we haven't been going out much, I've been feeling a little out of the habit with the whole driving thing. So I need to, you know, be and swap with my hubby and do the grocery run or something, just to get some more driving in. And so the skill set part of it, yes, you might spend time, you're going to learn it and stuff. but your creativity is always flowing. And for most people, I feel the mistake isn't that they're not creative enough, or that they don't have enough time, such a big thing, or that they don't have the right tools, or they just feel scared all the time, or they just don't have the right brain space, they're not motivated enough, whatever it is. It's because they're allowing their creativity to flow into the excuses about why they can't. That they're actually so creative, they're actually getting really good at coming up with excuses about, and the stories that are totally legitimate, totally reasonable, totally logical, totally like understandable and real. And yet you forget that you got to choose, right? Like, you have the power and you chose to direct the flow either to your creative work and you showed up for it, or towards the excuses and the stories. And what if that is a way of being and also a muscle that you get to build? So then if you're directing it to the excuses and the stories, that's the muscle you're building. You get really good at that. You get really comfortable with that. You get really kind of smart and ingenious about that. Like, it becomes layered, like a web of layers and entanglement, and it becomes distracting, and you can't even see it for what it is, which is that you get to choose. You get to like stop that, even though you've been doing it forever, even though you regret it, even though you probably should have known better, even though you've been hearing the same things over and over, even from me or from somebody else, that yeah, you really should. I really need to get back into painting. I really need to get serious about this business I want to start. I really need to, really focus and create this portfolio and body of work so I can start selling it online, and I know what I'm talking about. I really should, learn to sell and get myself around this money mindset stuff so it stops like fucking you over, right? But you get to choose. You can just, even all of that, you should have known better, you should have blah blah blah. And then you get distracted by the, I should have, woulda, couldas, and the regrets, and then berating yourself, and then staying stuck in perfectionism, and you still just like tangling yourself, even when you could just choose to like, okay, I'm done with that. Let's just start. Let's just start imperfectly. Let's just start in the mess. Let's just start despite the fact that the room isn't clean, you don't have all the right tools, you don't have the right space, and you've got kids clamoring at you. You're going to be interrupted at any moment. You might not even get into the zone at all, which is exactly what I was feeling. I'm like, I don't want to do a live stream. I might not get into the zone. I really should eat food. But because of my whole I need to create before I consume thing, it was like, now I'm in the zone. I'm getting hot soon, and my food's getting cold. But also because you need to hear this, and I need to hear this, and that maybe next year I'm going to need this message. So future Brenda, if you're feeling like really disconnected and can't be bothered, remember this rule about creating before you consume, that you get to choose where your creative flow goes. You get to choose and check in and be mindful and intentional about what muscle you are building. Are you building up your creative excuse-making muscles? Or let's use that creativity and intelligence, and you are very smart, very capable, very creative and ingenious and innovative in your excuses already, and they're totally legitimate. There is no time. We have no space. We're stuck at home. Everything is scary. New thing is always scary. Everything is unknown. Yeah, might make art that is ugly. You might, what's the word? Fall on your face and it's embarrassing. Yep, doing live streams can be awkward when you first do it. And yet, if you keep showing up for it and you keep improving, just like your driving skills, just like your writing skills, just like your handwriting. Like my 6-year-old right now is doing a lot of writing as part of her homeschooling. And I'm just like, oh my God. But we all started with handwriting like that, and her handwriting's definitely improved. But I'm like, you had to practice. Like, no one started out perfect. Who is that? If that is you, I would love to meet you and learn about your life and how you just came out perfect. And that must be hard if you need to have that for every area of your life. So anyway, so that is it from me today. What if your creativity is always flowing? What if you have access to it? You've always had access to it. What if that confidence and that clarity that you are seeking to be brave, to step up, to expand into the next chapter that you're being called to expand into? What if that thing that keeps nagging at you and calling you, and it's not going away, that voice about starting that business, about really digging deep into finding a clear, distinct voice in your art, so that you're not just like floating around like a hobbyist and just like dabbing and dipping your toes in. You want to like actually dive in. What if you always had what you think you're waiting for, that you keep waiting for, more time, more space, more perfect tools, more motivation, more confidence, is only going to be there once you started? What if the clarity, and I'm always saying this, is there is no what if. The clarity and the confidence that you're looking for and that you're seeking and that you're waiting for is only going to happen. It's only going to come to you after you've taken those steps, after you've dared to go, I'm going to step into it, I'm going to dive in, even though I have no idea, even though I'm freaking out, even though it's messy, even though it's really chaotic right now, but I am sick and tired of sitting around waiting and sitting on the sidelines and being a spectator. I want to get into the ring. I want to step into the arena. I want to be a player. I want to be part of the game. I want to try, not just talk about trying, but actually do it. And you've always had access to it, and you just have to direct your creative flow towards that instead of what you've always done. And it's always going to be hard, especially at the beginning, because you're building a whole new habit and a new way of being. And to keep, it's always going to like keep, you know, like a really bad, you know, the shopping trolleys that's always like swaying, right? Like, you know, it's always like, I hate those, right? Where it's always like trying to go off to one side. Maybe that's what your creative focus and the way you show up for your creativity and your art and your business or whatever it is like right now. It's always kind of veering towards the excuses and the old stories and the wounds and the triggers. And it's going to take a lot of effort and energy to keep turning it towards what it is that you want to focus on. If you would like support with that, if you would like someone to remind you and to help you and to hold you and to ensure that you feel like you're seen and that you're not doing this alone, MUSE Momentum Intensive, ask me about it, DM me. It's a 90-minute one-on-one call where we can really dig deep and then map out a plan. We can really find what it is that's truly holding you back. A lot of it's going to be very simple fears, and a lot of it just going to be very simple, but your fear and your doubt likes to make it complicated. And then there's 2 weeks Voxer Access, which is like a walkie-talkie app where I can be in your pocket. Because anytime you step up and you rise up and you dare to change and to improve, resistance is going to show up. Your fear is going to like come roaring out. And so that additional 2 weeks afterwards is to help you, to support you, to remind you of the big vision that we had and remind you of our plan, to keep it simple, that you are allowed to make the art that you want to make, that you are allowed to dare to take those steps forward, that you are allowed to dream the dreams that you dream. And that you already have the power to choose which direction you want your creative energy to flow. That's all for today. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your questions. Let me know what it is that you're dreaming and hoping for, and that you're feeling like you're feeling stuck on, and that you're feeling blocked. Come inside Mindful Muses. We will continue a lot more conversations about this inside there, or whatever else I want to talk about. It's a really cool space. I'm really intentional about cultivating this climate of creativity and flow and this collective juju that you can really tap into whatever you need, whether it's to feel more motivated and inspired, but also it's a space for you to share it too, because I believe in that flow coming from giving and receiving at the same time, right? So find me in there. The link is in my header. Or DM me if you need that MUSE Momentum Intensive. Ask me about it. It is a really, really low price until tomorrow, because then I want to focus on much longer term mentoring packages, because I believe sometimes that I know from experience that when you can walk a proper 8-12 weeks together, we can really transform everything. But if you just need some clarity, you just need a map, you just need that boost of confidence to find your way and to focus on what you need to focus on and to drop everything else that's distracting you, MUSE Momentum Intensive is going to be for you. So message me to ask me about that, to get the link to schedule yourself onto my calendar. There's a few spots left. But yeah, that is all. Thank you so much for being here. Remember that you are a muse. Remember that you are loved and that you are seen and that you are connected to the divine, and that this calling that you have, this nudge that you have, you can dare to take it seriously and to take the next step today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.